enough that corporate America stuffs its workforce into rows and rows of cubicles. And to make matters worse, toxic coworkers could turn those cubicle fields into minefields.
Of course, we've all had to deal with the shoot the messenger types who don't take any news well, and the pedestal smashers who like to be praised. You know a few of them. But there are some good strategies for coexisting in the cubicles.
Catherine Crowley, a psychotherapist, and Kathy Elster, a management consultant, have penned the book Working With You Is Killing Me, with some tips on how to de-stress at work and deal with all of those personalities. Lurking around the cubicles, you will find the loud talker, the credit stealer, the exploder, and the space invader coworker. You know who they are. And just down the hall, the ill-tempered or extreme boss. Everyone has dealt with one or the other, or maybe all of them.
Nitpicking know-it-alls who steal food out of the refrigerator and don't even own up to it. Those people, and you know who you are.
Badgering all the time, just constantly complaining. It becomes a little bit annoying after a while.
My office is an open space, and I sit next to someone who speaks another language. And he basically, I think if he can't hear the person, he has to scream into the phone. So you hear him screaming Russian into the phone all the time. It makes me absolutely crazy.
But according to authors Kathy Elster and Catherine Crowley, you can beat those coworkers even at their own game. Okay, so let's run through some of the different problems that people have at work. Coworkers who are incompetent, coworkers who offer up sloppy work, people who wear on your very last nerve. I mean, what are some of the things you can do to deal with them at work?
Yeah, the 4 Ds. You have to detach and understand you're not going to change that person and accept who they are. And then you want to depersonalize and understand that it's not about you. It's their behavior. And the last step is to devise a plan of how you're going to deal with this person. And there's a variety of ways of dealing with it.
Okay, and what would you say is the biggest problem? Through all the research you've done, what did most people say was their biggest problem in the workplace?
Well, the small problem and big problems are different. For small problems, the biggest issue is what we call boundary busters. Those are the people who invade your space, who eat up your time, who cheer your ear off, who heat up foods that you can barely stand smelling, Those are the boundary busters, and they're small irritants, but they can drive you crazy. But they're the most common in just the general world of work. And then for the more extreme,
I think the exploder. Nobody likes getting yelled at, and there seems to be an epidemic of yellers out there.
Okay, and let's touch on the person who leans over your cubicle all the time and is always invading your space. How do you handle those coworkers?
fly swatters are very helpful in those situations.
Those are the really annoying ones. You absolutely have to confront this person, and you have to let them know that you enjoy speaking with them and you really care about them, and maybe we can have lunch or we can have a cup of coffee, we can take a break together, but when you're at work, it breaks the concentration.
Okay, so let's touch a little bit on some of the steps you can take if you have a credit stealer. Let's start with a coworker and then a credit stealer as a boss.
So, take a couple of deep breaths, get back into the meeting, and at some point, make a statement. Say, the first time I ran that by Susan, she really liked the idea. So in other words, you're letting everybody know it was your idea.
For the credit stealer boss, that's a particular challenge. And actually, it's the one situation that we describe in the book of where you really have to consider whether it's worth your time staying with this person.
What's your favorite one?
Oh, favorite. I think the saboteur probably, because they're the most difficult to uncover. They gave us the biggest challenge of figuring out how do you deal with this person that is so nice to your face but stabs you in the back. So to me, they're the most interesting of all of them.
And I think I have a special attachment to the empty pit.
Oh, okay, you like
Yeah,
that.
that's the person who comes on friendly at first and then presents you with problem after problem after problem and essentially enlists you as their on-site therapist, only you're not being paid, and you start to resent them and they never take any of the actions that you suggest. There's something about that just pulls at my heartstrings.
And one thing I thought was interesting, the screamer, the one that yells around the office, the exploder, you actually want to let them rant because that will let them cool off a little bit more quickly.
Great advice if you can follow it.